And of course, he has been an ambassador twice for Pakistan and is also a senior analyst. Of course, His Excellency, Mr. Zafar Hilaly. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us again. We've become very big fans of you, sir. In fact, our radio station loves you, sir. We love you.
Right. Hey, wonder why?
No, sir. You make sense of a lot of things. बहुत चीज़ों की बात हम करते हैं, so you make a sense of a lot of things. Now, it's a very serious subject of Afghanistan, as you know, and I just wanted to find out from you what sort of transformations and reforms have taken place in Afghanistan till now.
Well, I think that if you see what's been happening over the past 20 years, 20 years before this,
yes.
Afghanistan was a kind of inferior version of a usual poor third world Muslim country.
Yes.
If you like, an even poorer version of Pakistan.
Right.
The women were in veils, not full, were in veil or full parda. Rarely unveiled outside home, but yes, they were visible.
Yes.
In shops, on TV, in dramas, in debates. They were news readers, they were even analysts.
Right.
Girls were in schools, some were in higher education.
Yes.
A lot of them were in the professions that one associates with women. Nursing, for example, segregation was not so strict. And they were in government offices. Now all that has changed. They don't seem to be there anymore, and I don't know what the future holds for them.
Right. One of the things, going from this subject to what you've said, is the fact that they had promised that children, girls will be going back to school, and that actually has happened now. The West wasn't expecting it, but girls are now back to school.
No, I think that the West should have accepted it because because they promised at the meetings in Qatar with the Americans that they would go back in their own way and in their own time and after their own fashion.
Yes.
So girls going back to secondary school, up to secondary school was promised, and if they have fulfilled it, they've done they've not done no big thing. But they have not as yet permitted women to go for higher education. And women, although they're receiving salaries, they are not all returned to professions and to the posts that they were in. And that's, I think, something that is correctly being held against the Taliban.
Do you feel that because girls are back to schools that opens up for other women and other students going back as well, that it's a positive sign?
I don't know where on earth they get there. Look at Iran. It has a vice president who is a woman. Look at that. She's a woman prime minister. I worked for her. I was a national security advisor.
Yes, you were. Yes.
And what is it that they are? What is it that they are, lagging about? Women in Islam, whenever women are mentioned, men are mentioned.
Yes.
Men and women. It goes out of its way to mention men or women. It could have said humanity or whatever. It doesn't. Men and women. So we think women have equal rights, barring some very few, obviously, which are not possible because of gender.
Right.
That said, I think that that's disappointing. We thought 20 years on that they would be more progressive in their act.
Right. Now we also hear on the news and everywhere else what a bad financial situation there is in Afghanistan, but they're somehow managing to release salaries for the government employees. So I think that is now happening. I don't know how they've collected this money, but they've collected it, and I just wanted your views on this.
Well, I think, quite frankly, there must have been resources available which they are using, or they have been promised assistance also by countries. Pakistan, we have 40% below the poverty line, and yet we have so far given them several $100 million of assistance in food and whatever. But the fact of the matter is that they won't be able to keep it up for very long unless the Americans and the West really turns on the spigot. And certainly, until the Americans release the $9 billion that they have really taken over, for what reason? You've signed an agreement with the Taliban. You may not have formally recognize them, but you've concluded an agreement with them.
Yes, you're right.
There are certain conditions to that. Because people are starving. There's famine conditions. If you want this country returned to normal, you have to give them that $9 billion that you have commandeered without any good reason.
Right. Do you feel that China and Russia can help in this?
Yes, they can, but they want to keep everybody on, the more pressure. They think that everybody's in it together, more pressure will be built up.
Right.
But of course, if the Americans turn off the spigot, if they say, no, we're not going to give them, then somebody will have to come forward. And China, I'm sure, will. And so will Russia.
Right. Yes. Now, what do you think will happen to the frozen assets, this money that should come? Do you think they will release it soon, or is there any indication of anything, or have they asked for anything else? When will the freezed assets...
Well, it's the usual American thing. They'll keep it until the desperation rises and they feel that they will be able, by maintaining this pressure, to get the concessions of the Taliban, which they expect from the Taliban.
Right.
Maybe... I always say there's just so much elasticity in a rubber band. If you keep pulling it, it will snap. And when that does, then the entire relationship becomes useless. You have absolutely no leverage on them at all.
That's a great analogy, sir. That really is a great analogy. That so they are really pulling it to bits now. I think where this thing could actually burst.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
Well, no, I mean that is sad. We just hope and pray that sense will prevail everywhere, because, as you've said and as we all know, it's a humanitarian crisis, and it's something that should be looked upon.
If I may just interrupt you
and
say that what will happen if this money is not forthcoming? What will happen if indeed they can't have enough money for food, or not given enough food? There will be a mad exodus towards the border. Pakistan first, Iran second, perhaps the Central Asian states. And we can't shoot people who are wanting to come over. We can't, and we mustn't, and I hope we don't. We've got strong borders, but there's absolutely no way that starving people can be kept. Hopefully, we'll have to do something. We have to send in the forces, keep them perhaps on their soil, but make sure that they are supplied by what enables a man to live.
Right.
And it would be very sad if the Americans waited till it came to that.
What other challenges do you feel the Afghan government are facing?
Well, I think, they've really got to come together in the terms of, there is a semblance of unity, but is there? There are 4 or 5 groups, and are they really united? I don't know. I haven't really talked to different groups, but one hopes they are, and one hopes that differences get minimized. At the moment, they need 2 things desperately. They need security and food security. These 2 things they need. If you have security, then food will come, foreign workers, foreign aid will come, NGOs will come, and they will be able to live and distribute it there. If you don't have security, then whatever the food that comes won't get distributed properly.
Do you think the ministers and ministries and everything is working well? Are they in constant communication, or is there a communication problem, do you think?
Well, with us, the ministries that need to consult the Foreign Office
Hello. I think we seem to have lost you. Hello. Yes, got you back. Yes.
Yes. What I was saying is that the foreign minister, the acting foreign minister, Muttaqi, visited this country. He had a good visit. He seemed satisfied. Our border forces are also in close consultations. The trucks are going over. Pakistan has allowed India to send food aid and everything else to the Wagah border.
Right.
So we are, in that sense, all of us are doing as much as we can. But within Afghanistan, there has to be law and order and the ability to distribute. And they're making efforts. Let's hope that they prevail.
Thank you so much indeed for your time on this and making things a little bit clearer for us as well. The sad situation is we just have to hope and pray this thing happens soon, and that elastic band does not, snap, as you've said. So thank you very much indeed. God bless you. We're going to keep on disturbing you because it's nice disturbing you, Mr. Hilaly. Always. God bless you and thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And here we have the great analyst, senior analyst, Mr. Zafar Hilaly. Wonderful to speak to him. We're now going to go on a break, and then we're going to be coming back very, very shortly.